Hello, and welcome to Gondor Calls for Ale, episode 67. This is, of course, a Middle-earth strategy battle games podcast, and I am, of course, your host, Sam Gallagher, and, of course, with me, of course, is my brother, Ben.
And, of course, I shall welcome you to the show, of course.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. If this is your first one, sit back and enjoy. If this is your 67th one, also sit back and enjoy, and thank you for listening or viewing our voices for so long. I've sort of forgotten.
Those of you who are anywhere between 1 and 67 can also sit back and enjoy.
That is true, and I've sort of forgotten what we do here at Gondor Calls for Ale, and of course the most important thing, of course, is the ale, Ben. So we're going to get back on track, we're going to get to calling for ale, and I'm calling for you to tell me, what are you drinking this evening as we record?
Well, Sam, I have myself here in this very large jar. It's actually quite a lot of beer in here. Just a very big jar. Looks not quite all the way full. I have myself a Spearmaster Stout. Whether you're looking to chuck one at an enemy far away or stand by and support your friends, this is the drink for you.
Very good. Very good.
What about you, Sam? What are you drinking for this episode?
Well, Ben, it's just water because that's what I've got currently in the house. But for all of you listening and not viewing, I am having a Boromir's Brew, a drink for a man with a mighty thirst. But
Nice.
But you know, couldn't lie to our dear viewers. And speaking of viewing, if you are watching on YouTube, you know, do the YouTube stuff. Give us a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to our mighty army of followers, 100 and odd of you who are doing that. And if you're listening and feel like making my little heart glow, go and subscribe and like the video anyway, even if you're more of a podcast listener. Anyway, I assumed Ben was going to chime in with something there.
Yeah,
sorry. He's
sorry.
going to leave it to me. No, I'm just going to keep over talking you because I'm probably louder than you are. We're going to move on. Ben, you want to tell us? Now I'm going to ask you a question to get a response. Do you want to tell me, tell the viewer, tell the listener what we're going to be talking about in this episode?
Yeah, so Sam and I are going to be doing another rambly episode where we chat on. First of all, we are going to be talking about some of our favorite moments, favorite things from the edition that is ending with a bang. Hopefully a good bang for all of us. It's been a great edition, and we're just going to review some of our favorite things about it as it goes out. And then we're going to be looking ahead. We have managed to get my grubby little paws on some rule books a little early, and I'm sure many of you may have seen the leaks and spoilers flying around the internet full of pretty much anything you want to find at this point, if I'm honest. I haven't spoiled it all for myself that way, but Sam and I have come up with some of the armies that we're most excited about looking forward into this new edition, things that we might think we might play and you might hear about in future episodes if we take them to events.
Yeah, I think if you're listening to this on release day, this will come out the Friday before. It will come out Friday the 13th, which is the day before the new box and rulebooks release. So if you're listening to it afterwards, that's sort of why we're talking about this stuff, is because the day this episode will air the very next day. You can go and get your new stuff. And rather than continuing to jump on and be like, oh, this thing was spoiled, this thing was leaked, we decided to sort of to take some time, like Ben said, and pick some stuff that we're like, oh man, I'm really excited for this. Write some army lists and just sort of experiment and, you know, theorize and come up with themes and what have you. But yeah, I think a little more on that later. So shall we can talk about some of our favorite moments, Ben, for this edition, which we essentially played from pretty close to release. I think. Yeah, I guess I got the books for my birthday. They were my birthday present. I got books for my birthday, which was like a few weeks after they'd been released. And then, you know, played at the next Nova. I keep thinking that it was the Nova we didn't go... The Nova before our first Lord of the Rings Nova was like the first one for this edition, but that is not the case. So barring, you know, a few years or however long it was with COVID stuff, sort of making events and gaming significantly less possible, we really did play from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was such a great edition, such a good game, pulled so many people in, and you know, it looks like this next coming edition is going to be just as good. But sorry, I digress. Favorite moments from the previous edition, Sam? Do you want to kick us off with a favorite moment, favorite rule, such as something?
Well, I sort of think I guess I gotta say probably one of my top moments in this edition that's drawing to a glorious close was, I guess it was Nova 2023, where we came in third place at doubles, which was it was very fun. Nova's always such a great event, and after going to so many doubles event where we go 2-1. Finally going 3-0 and getting to place was really fun, and always more fun to play games with you. Absolutely. On my side, anyway.
And winning one of those sweet Rob Loader trophies with the Iron Star on as a die on top as into the bargain as well. You know?
Yeah, for sure. All right, Ben. What about you? What's a moment that stands out in your mind?
Losing my entire army except Bolg, and then walking into my opponent's army and Bolg not dying and just having Mighty Hero. I lost that game, but it was just a hilarious game to lose my entire army and then still have Bolg on foot and just go wading into, I believe it was Bill's elves and dwarves with Bolg. And the game finally did end, because it was one of those games that ends on a 1 or a 2 when one player's been broken, and we just kept not rolling the 1 or a 2 for like turns. It was like 10 turns where we didn't roll a 1 or a 2. It was amazing.
Nice, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just for sheer outlandishness, that one's gotta be a memorable moment.
Sure.
I mean,
I think honestly the best thing about this for me, and potentially for us, about this previous edition is all the friends we've made going to all of these events, which is really cool, and the sort of the community that we engage in. I think we sort of talked about an interesting change we're noticing in the community in the previous episode, but on the whole, everyone's awesome, and it's been really cool to go to so many events. I've never gone to as many events for a game system as I have for Lord of the Rings, and that's really been just this edition. And through doing that, have a group of people that almost every event I go to, I see somebody I know, and that's really exciting and fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, just to go back, another highlight moment, go back to our great doubles game. Dice rolls that shouldn't have happened. Your Grimbiorn getting surrounded and trapped by the Dragon Emperor, and having no fate left or something, and 16 dice getting rolled and nothing higher than a 4.
Yeah.
Grimbiorn walking away unscathed.
Yeah, I think it was 18 dice actually, but some absurd number. It was the Dragon Emperor.
Never tell me the odds, right, Sam?
Yeah. I mean, I have to just to keep this rolling. Team Honeycakes, couple of doubles tournaments with Jakey and Team Honeycakes. The Return of the Cake, or the 2 cakes. I don't think we've had the Return of the Cakes yet. But yeah. I mean, those are always great, good times had by all beating up on some like 10-year-old kids in a doubles tournament, and just general hilarity.
Will any doubles moment ever top Tom the Troll hitting a Mumakil with a thrown stone and causing it to stampede and kill itself / run over half the other army? I mean,
it didn't kill itself, alas, but it did do some damage.
Didn't we end up charging it to its doom? Like, it ran towards us, and then we charged it with the Goblin King. And
I think we did. We did kill it, but it didn't kill itself with the stampede.
Right.
Because we ran it into a wall. Anyway, but yes, that was pretty glorious. All right, Ben. Any more favorite moments coming from you? Let's hear one that's not gaming related. That's an adjacent.
Not gaming related specifically. Ooh. I mean, definitely friends along the way. It is. I too have never been to more events for a game system than Lord of the Rings, and I don't know that I ever will, if I'm entirely honest. I've got my game, Sam. We found out, But yeah, going to events, seeing the same faces, being excited to see people, playing the same people again with different armies or the same armies and having grudge matches, and whether we know it or not, we're sometimes in grudge matches with each other. Like, you got me last tournament, but I'll get you this round.
Sure.
I've finally been on the losing end of some of those. I've run into people a couple of times and lost, and then finally won, and then finally taken my loss. So that's, I don't know, what goes around comes around. We all hope.
Sure.
But no, I will say one last thing that I will perhaps miss about this previous edition. It seems like the end of having a big Fight 7 orc to put on the table is going to scare everyone away. Lots of Fight 7 seems to be has been spoiled ahead, perhaps, and that's changing. And I will miss that, although it is a good change.
Sure.
As a big scary orc player.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're still the biggest, scariest orcs that are out there. So
That's true.
I think one of the things that I thoroughly enjoyed about, perhaps more to the tail end of this edition, but it was really fun seeing you pick up a brush again and start. I will happily paint armies and whatever, but I think it's another aspect of this hobby, and so it was cool. It was cool seeing you starting to paint again, start building up armies and stuff. That was fun.
You know what? Truly, the best thing to come out of this edition, though, Sam. Gondor calls for ale.
That is true. It's definitely. Some say the greatest thing ever to do with Middle Earth. I actually got an email from P.T. Jackson just the other day saying, "Guys, you've eclipsed all of my achievements." So. Yes. No. I mean, that's.
I'll give you one of mine.
Yeah, that is definitely true. We certainly enjoy doing this, and hopefully you listeners, viewers, and everyone in between also at the very least tolerate us. But hopefully we bring a little bit of laughter, joy, perhaps even if no worthwhile advice to your hobby.
Well, Sam, we looked back at the previous edition. We could ramble on, I'm sure, but shall we look ahead to future editions and things that we are excited that we've seen so far?
Sure, Ben. I think we should in fact roll ahead to it, which of course is my beautiful segue into talking about our sponsor. We are in fact still sponsored by the Baron of Dice, the producer of premium wargaming dice, Ben. These beautifully hand-swirled resin dice with nice laser-engraved symbols are going to be perfect for that delicious new army you're starting for this new edition. That's right, you can get yourself any variety of dice you want. You can find those on the Baron of Dice website. There is a link in the description of wherever you're viewing or listening to this podcast, and if you'd like, you can get a discount using our promo code G, C, A. I also happen to know there are some other exciting Middle-earth related things in the work from the Baron, so stay tuned.
Well, Sam, thank you for that, and I think you are first up in sharing things that you are excited for. So we have put together some army lists from some of our sources, and that source is, of course, the Tabletop Admiral. We're not affiliated with the Tabletop Admiral, but he is fantastic.
No, in fact, I pay him to use his fantastic tool, which you definitely don't have to, but I use it so consistently and regularly, and it's so great that I certainly will throw him a little bit of money every month. So yes, here we go, Ben. My first army, which of course is to be built out of the new large quantity of Battle for Edoras boxes I have purchased. And this is as I have saved it, because that is one of the perks of being a Tabletop Admiral subscriber. As I've saved it, I saved this under the name of the Army of Edoras, No Helm, because this, of course, is the Army of Edoras. If you're viewing, you can have seen it already. If you're listening, my first list is the Army of Edoras, and it does not include Helm Hammerhand. This is for a few reasons, and we'll go into those reasons probably after I read the list. I'll read the list first, then we can go into the reasons. So this is a 649 point army list. I think that's going to be the standard points level is 649. That's calling it now. Middle Earth second edition, 649. Just kidding. 650 points. Slightly more complicated to get those extra 1 or 2 points now. So we have the army is led by Haleth, Prince of Rohan. He is on an armored horse. In his warband, there is 1 warrior of Rohan with banner, 8 warriors of Rohan with shield, and 5 warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear. In warband 2, we have Hama, Prince of Rohan. Apparently not on a horse. I'm not sure if I had intended to do that, but that's fine. He's not on a horse. In his warband, there are 6 warriors of Rohan with bow, 6 warriors of Rohan with shield, and 3 warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear. And then, warband 3, we have a captain of Rohan. And he has heavy armor and shield. No option on Tabletop Admiral for a horse. And I'm not 100% sure if captains can't take horses in this list or not, but no horses on these guys. We have in his warband 6 warriors of Rohan with shield and 5 with shield and throwing spear. And then we've got this is going to be hilarious. So then we have another captain, also in heavy armor with a shield. And in his warband there are 2 warriors of Rohan with shield. This was definitely just how many models can I fit, and I'll reshuffle the warbands at a later date. Didn't get to shuffling the warbands. I would definitely not have 1 captain with 11 and 1 with 2. It would. So that's how many? 13 models. So 1 would have 7 and 1 would have 6 or something. Divide them up a little bit. All right. So that is, as I said, 649 points, 46 models, 7 bows, 13 throwing spears, and 9 might.
46 models and 9 might at 650 points feels like a lot. Like when I first looked at this list, I was like, oh, you've just got Haleth and Hammer and then captains. Like, I guess that's cool. Like, you could just buy 2 of the starter box and a box of Rohirrim guys, or 2 starter boxes, a little converting, and you've got their army here, which is awesome. I really like that you did that. I think that's super, super cool. But then I really looked at the list and I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of guys here. Yeah. I'm sure they're only defense 5, but yeah, I like this a lot, Sam. This is cool.
I think the big thing that you're going to struggle with is being fight 3 in a world where there's a lot more fight 4. So it's hard. I've been really struggling. I've been really excited about the new Rohan stuff. Obviously, my heart was captured by Helm Hammerhand, the mighty hero with 3 heroic combats and +1 fight bubble. I think that helm has gone away, predictably, but fair. I've had a great time playing with him, and I'm really excited to use the new helm. But I wrote this list because we're talking about over the holiday season playing a bunch of games, and I think even Helm, as he is without the mighty hero and 3 heroic combat, is against the army of Dunland is kind of a little bit oppressive, I think. So I was like, well, I'll do one without Helm and see how it is. Also, I only have you can't currently buy the Forge-World Helm model, and the one I have is on snow bases. And I wanted to do this army to match all the Rohan terrain I've made, which is not snow. So I'm definitely setting myself up for accidentally painting 2 entire Rohan armies, because one may be snowy and one won't be. But that was sort of some of my thoughts. It's fun to sort of show off the new heroes. I'm also still crossing my fingers for sweet plastic riders. I'm not holding my breath. I will cross my fingers, but I didn't want to write a bunch into the list and then have them release, because what I would do if they don't release is I'll just convert them out of the new foot models, so I can always add them later. So that is sort of my first army. I was halfway through saying I've been really excited for the new Rohan stuff, really excited for the new helm. I'm really excited to watch the movie and have been struggling to write lists from that like the army of Edoras and the defense of the
Hornburg.
with a theme, without really knowing what the deal is. Also, I'm probably going to my heat is kicked on, which is insanely loud, so forgive me for that.
Do you happen to remember what the special rules for this for the army of Edoras are, Sam?
Yes, on once per game on a turn in which, once per game, your general, any model within 12 inches of your general can get +1 to wound if they charged, I believe. Nice. And I can't remember what the other one is. It's something. If your general charged, models within a range of them automatically pass courage tests, I believe.
Oh, that's convenient. That's nice.
I can, in fact, check in a moment. Well, hold.
Sam checks, I will take it away into my army list, which is the Besiegers of the Hornburg.
Reroll failed to wound. Rerolled or failed once per game within 12 inches of your general. Reroll failed to wound rolls, and friendly Rohan hero charges until the end of the turn. Friendly Rohan models within 6 automatically pass courage tests they were tried to make to charge enemies with terror. So
nice. Cool. So this is my army list. I wish I was as cool as Sam and made it so that you could build it out of the starter box. You can build most of it out of the starter box, but I have added Shank and Rot, the orc scavengers, with their sneaky snow troll. I saw the snow troll profile. I spoiled it for myself, and I got really excited to put these guys on the table. I think it's just so cool. I think the orcs have also got some really fun special rules. You're incentivized to go kill guys and hunt for little treasures, which I think is good fun. And the other thing I wanted to do with this list is I've seen a lot of people throwing a lot of 750-point lists around. I think that might be our new standard, 750, 800 again. So I got all excited for some smaller points just to switch things up, see what's good out there. So I did 550 points. We have Wolf, High Lord of the Hill Tribes. He's on a horse in his warband. There are 6 Hill Tribesmen with flaming brands, 8 Hill Tribesmen with spear, 1 Crabane, and 2 Hill Tribesmen with light shield and flaming brands. I put on the light shields because I had 2 points left over. And other than that, I don't know that they're necessarily worth taking. Next, we've got General Targ. He is on foot. I don't know that at 550 points, 20 points is worth a horse for this guy. We've got 6 Hill Tribesmen with flaming brands and 6 Hill Tribesmen with spear in his warband. And finally, we have the orcs, Shank and Rot, and their snow troll.
Excellent. Yeah, I think I really love Shank, Rot, and the snow troll. I don't love Wolf as much. I have a feeling that when I watch the movie, I'll love him even less. But you have to take him in this list, so obviously you take him. He's also definitely the best Hill Tribes leader. He's got the strike. He's whatever. But yeah, no, I think this is super cool. I'm really excited for low point games. It's funny that you're saying you've seen a lot of 750 point lists. I've seen a number of 650 point events already posted. So I don't know whether people are sort of easing into it, and we'll see. But I'm definitely excited for some low points values. It's funny. I realized a couple things about the Hill Tribes, which is interesting. Is this army cannot have a banner. Which is kind of a shame. It would be cool to convert up a Hill Tribesman with wolf pelt banner kind of thing. And the other thing, I don't know if you're fully aware, but how the change to Crabane.
No, they've changed Crabane.
Well, they now are beasts, and beasts can't pick up objectives or ever be past objectives. So gone are the days of your Crabane flying in and digging up the relic and flying off with it. Oddly enough, you can still burn supplies with them. It's not like they can't interact with objectives. But it's just kind of an interesting thing. I think they're still worth taking in most things, but they're definitely not the I'm going to include one of them for that one scenario that I want to get to the center of the board, and dig a thing up really fast.
Interesting. Maybe it is worth giving General Target's horse after all.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Crebain is so great for jumping over lines and blocking something up, and I would yell at you for them not being themey, or maybe Wolf is constantly surrounded by crows and therefore they would be extra themey. But haven't seen the movie. I will have by the time this episode release. So, but it is I
put them in there because it seemed a tool that you want to have. But if they don't feel on theme, then I don't know that I'm terribly attached to having them on there. I also don't own the models. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of like, whether it's on theme or not, they're in the list. It's otherwise your list is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 profiles. I guess it's only one more, but it's not that many, not that much stuff that it really feels worth cutting something off. But yeah, no, this is so close. What the Snow Troll and Orcs and the Crebain away from being able to build this out of the box. Unlike my list, you don't need multiple boxes worth of hill track, do you?
16... Yeah, I think you do. There's like 34 models in this.
Yeah, so it's 60...
5, 6. You need 28 hill
28,
tracks.
so you're only 4 models away from it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, drop those 4 models and give what's his General Target's horse. There you go.
Yeah, but then you still need to buy the Crebain and the Snow Troll, which is currently unavailable. So.
The other thing I do like about this is Wolf, who has General Hunter as a special rule, gets a free heroic challenge against the enemy general, even if they're a lower heroic tier than him.
Yeah.
So you just have this incentive to go enemy hero hunting with him, and really just spend all your might and then get it all back.
Well,
you get 2.
Right, sure, and one of them's free, I guess. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. I mean, I honestly, I think the coolest thing about this list is going to be the Orcs and the Snow Troll. They're just
100%. Yeah,
they're just rad.
Yep. All right, Sam, that is my list. On, give us another one.
All right. Once my screen catches up. Here we go. Yes. So, Ben, the army of Gothmog is what I'll be talking about. I will first say it has been an interesting exercise writing these armies, because I felt like pretty confident and comfortable writing armies in the previous edition. Like, I knew what I was probably going to be adding. I knew the stuff that was going to work, that wasn't going to work. And now it kind of feels like I'm like, I don't know, like, what should I take? I don't know what's going to be good, what's not going to be good, what's going to be cool. So this one I wrote a larger point. So this is the other standard. So it's going to be, I think, the 2 standard points levels for this edition are going to be 649 and 748. So that's my predictions. So yeah, it's 750 point list. So where, again, I've lost 2 points. I could probably fiddle around with it some, but who's got time for that? 36 models. And we've got the army is led by Gothmog, the lieutenant of Sauron. He has a shield, so sticking with the no-wag philosophy. And he's got a Morannon Orc with Banner in his warband. He's also got a Mordor Orc Troll, 4 Morannon Orcs with Shield and Spear, and 4 Morannon Orcs with Shield. Then I've got Gurrett's Master of Reserves with 5 Morannon Orcs with Spear and Shield, 5 Morannon Orcs with wait, that's wrong. So apparently he has 10 Morannon Orcs with Spear and Shield in his warband. The intention was 5 of them to just be Shield, so we've got 5 extra points to play around with here, guys. Then we've got Gothmog's Enforcer. He's got 6 Morannon Orcs with Spear and Shield, and 6 Morannon Orcs with Shield. Did I say Gurrett's also had a troll in his warband? So 2 trolls, 2 trolls, Gurrett's, Gothmog's Enforcer, and Gothmog. 36 models, and apparently only 6 might. But Gothmog can spend the Enforcer's will for marches. You no longer get drums in this list, so that's a bit of, except on the troll, but I'm not paying 25 points for a model that looks bad. Yeah, so interesting. My initial thought for this, and then I really ran out of models. Basically, I'm not pumped about Gothmog's Army of Gothmog in the same way, but I'm definitely going to try it. But my initial thought was I was going to go for the scene where the gates of Minas Tirith have been busted open and the trolls are coming in, and whatever comes through those doors, stand your ground. So we're going for just a few moments after that where one of the trolls gets killed by a bunch of arrows. So there are 2 trolls left. We've busted open the doors and we're going to wade through models. Basically, I just wanted to take as many trolls as I could, this is obviously not as many trolls as I could, but I wanted to take as many trolls as I felt would be like.
You tried 3 and ended up with not enough orcs.
You just have like no models and a pretty high points level, and so. Yeah, and I'm not. I mean, Gothmog's Enforcer is probably better just as a captain. I don't know. Moran and Orcs getting +1 fight against men is pretty cool, and there's still strength 4, defense 6, and the army's pretty neat. But basically, it seems like monsters are going to be cool in this edition, so I wanted to try some monsters. I mean, Mordor trolls, 4 wounds, delicious.
Yeah. Plus, the Army of Gothmog feels like it lacks a bit of a hitter. Gothmog is not a puncher, less so this edition than the previous one, apparently, which is a bit of a shame.
Sure.
So I think it's exciting to you've got some trolls. Your hitters don't have might behind them, which is it's different than what we normally see. But 2 trolls, and if your opponent's big heroes are running around chopping through your trolls, that does leave time for Gothmog to power up the Moran and start getting his stuff together. So
yeah,
I think it'd be pretty cool to see this on the table.
Yeah, and you get to yell 2 trolls at people and trolls in the dungeon, and I have this army entirely painted except for the 2 trolls and Gothmog's Enforcer and Gurits. No, I have Gurits painted, so 3 models away from being able to run this, which is pretty cool.
Sam, I was thinking about this new edition. A lot of heroes have got unique special rules and some fun, interesting stuff, and I was thinking Gothmog really needs a special rule that says he can't be hit by siege weapons.
That would be awesome.
Even if you just want to make it specifically trebuchets.
Sure, yeah. It is a funny thing. There are like loads of new special rules, unique special rules for characters and some warriors as well, which I do think, because that's one thing we haven't talked about. Like I looked through all of the army lists and I was like, oh my god, there are so many good, as in like so many non-evil armies I want to play, and there were like significantly less of the evil army lists I was like really jazzed for, partially because I had foolishly sort of led myself to believe that I was going to have armies of Fight 5 Uruk-hai, which was the reality was never going to happen, but then they weren't that, so I was like, I'm a little down on Isengard. Just because anyway, that's a whole other thing. So once and I've read through them a couple times and getting more excited to try them. But I think part of the reason why the good armies like are so much more exciting is they have more characters with unique special rules, because they're the ones that get the screen time more. And there are sort of like, there's just like more about the good armies, so it's sort of easier to give them like, not that the evil armies don't have good rules. Like the Minas Morgul army where you get Blades of the Dead on your orcs, like that's awesome, but it's not like, it's not neat in the same way that like some of the other armies have a cool special. I mean, that's the other. I mean, the army of Edoras, I think, is actually kind of a shame, because I do like the king of the Helm King of Rohan rules, but their army's rules aren't as interesting as some of the other ones.
Some of the other ones. Sure.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm excited to try this. I'm not. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
All you got to do is paint up 2 trolls, and you've got this done. So
yeah. And I have about 1,000 of them. I think we've got like 4 of the metal ones, and at least 3 of the plastic. No. At least 4 of the plastic ones. So we have many a troll.
1 troll for each wound that each troll has.
Actually, they're like blue horrors when you kill one, though, or pink horrors when they kill one. They split into 4 smaller ones. But yeah. So I think that's gonna be fun to try out. I sort of like the idea of. I mean, obviously, Army of Gothmog going through Osgiliath is pretty cool. But I was like, when's another time that we could sort of like have another bit of a theme and push for that. So
nice. Well, Sam has got the army of Gothmog, so I thought it only fitting that actually, this is purely coincidental, but I just arranged them next to each other. I was going to do atop the wall. This is the Legendary Legion. We're not calling them Legendary Legions anymore, but this is the Legendary Legion that I wanted last edition for Gandalf. The Legendary Legion that Gondor should have had. The one time we actually see Gondor guys actually fighting and doing cool stuff, and most of the time in Osgiliath, they're like running away and dying. Osgiliath is where Gondor goes to die, apparently. So atop the wall, led by Gandalf the White on Shadowfax, carrying Pippin around because you can do that in the new edition. Super cool. Makes Gandalf even better. Although Gandalf the White is already pretty awesome.
And he's not that
Gandalf
much.
Gandalf the White on Shadowfax, 250 points. He's still expensive.
Yeah, but he's
Warband. There are 8 warriors of Minas Tirith with shields, 9 warriors of Minas Tirith with spear and shield, and 1 warrior of Minas Tirith with banner. In the next warband, we have Edoras, Captain of the Guard, definitely on his way to tattle on Denethor, on Gandalf to Denethor. He's going to go tell Denethor all the bad things that Gandalf's been doing. And with him, he has 12 Citadel Guard with spear. And finally, we have a Captain of Minas Tirith, and in his warband, there are 8 warriors of Minas Tirith with bow. I did think about putting some bows on the Citadel Guard, but Edoras gives the Citadel Guard +1 to wound, and I wanted that +1 to wound to last for as long as I could, and I figured spears was probably the better option, even having strength 3 bows on the Citadel Guard. And one of the rules for this is that warriors of Minas Tirith or warriors of Gondor get +1. I'll get to reroll 1s if they're within 12 inches of an objective for shooting attacks as well as close combat attacks. So I thought, a couple of warriors of Minas Tirith with bow might make advantages of that rule, and they're still defense 5. I mean, they're bow warriors, but they're defense 5, so they're not bad.
Sure. Yeah, it's funny. I think Gandalf's 30 more points than he was in the previous edition on with Shadowfax. Wasn't he 100? He was 220. Was he 220 base plus?
245 on Shadowfax.
Yeah, so he's 5 points more, but you added a 25-point Pippin. And you have and he's just objectively better. His magic's worse, but I think magic is just worse in this edition.
Yeah, we got 3 attacks. I believe he's fight 6 now.
Yeah,
he's got magic. He's got Glamdring. He's got the ring. He's a hero of legend now, so he can lead 18 troops. He passes his first courage test. He buffs all the troops around him. It is an army that's all about Gandalf. I don't think he's that hard to kill. So I definitely think it's not a super powered legion. I don't think this will necessarily be top tables or anything, but I think it's going to be super fun, and I, for one, am excited to put it on the board.
And you're forgetting the whole point of this new edition and Gondor Calls for Ale is we're never getting to top tables, so we're going to play stuff that's cool and not necessarily what's competitive. Which is the whole thing with this new edition so far. Every rule I've read has been awesome. Even the ones where I'm like, I wanted Fight 5 Uruk-hai, I'm still, still fully on board with it. And I think, and it's funny because they fixed some rules that, even just those little changes in the previous edition would have been super rad. And then you're like reminded that the army lists are more restricted, and therefore like this is even nicer. So for what I'm thinking of is the way being invisible in the ring works. Is you only halve the fight value of if you're fighting a single model. So if you're fighting one-on-one, you halve that fight value. As soon as you put a friend in fighting that same model, you don't. Which is super cool. I think Bilbo, the old Bilbo, gets a special rule that he can like halve other people's fight value and still fighting. But so you're like, yes, those annoying ring bearers that are just like tacked onto a list to like have the fight value of my big fight 7 orc and then get it killed by an eagle are gone, but then that list is also gone. So awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my atop the wall list. I'm super excited for this one. The reason that I'm excited for this list is, although Gandalf got a glow up, it's the theme that excites me about this list, I guess, is what I was trying to say, not necessarily the rules. And like you said, the rules for this one are not that exciting. They do revolve all around Gandalf, which is cool. But anyway, onward, Sam. One more army list from each of us. Give me your last one.
Oh, well, I'm not done talking about this one, because I'm going to say I think that's interesting, because I think that one, you don't have to go back or anything. I think that one, army rules are like actually pretty cool. I mean, you get reroll ones within around 12 inches of an objective, or whatever it is,
good.
which is not about Gandalf. You automatically pass courage tests, I think, if you're within 12 of him, which is, definitely super good. And then you get Hatred Mordor, which is like rad, like this against.
You get Hatred Mordor within 12 inches of Gandalf.
Okay, this against my army of Gothmog. I'm like, this would be it would be a very bloody battle.
It would. It'd be a bloodbath.
Those Citadel Guard getting +2 to wound.
Yeah.
+3 if they're close to an objective.
No, +2 to wound, rerolling ones if they're next to
an objective. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, that's... So, anyway,
I think... It's so awesome, because one of my biggest complaints with Gondor when I played it in this previous edition was that I never killed anything. I was like, I'm here, behind my shields.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, and all your warriors are now fight 4.
Yeah, very cool.
That's super rad.
All right, Sam. Speaking of Gondor.
Yes, here we go. I will speak of Gondor, Ben, in a hushed tone, because it's the dream that was Gondor. No, I don't know where we're going with that. No, I think Gondor is probably one of the biggest winners in this new edition so far, because they went from basically having no one Legendary Legion, which it was the Rangers one, which was all about shooting, which who wants to do in Middle Earth, to like 3 awesome ones, and are also in a bunch of other ones, or 4.
Yeah.
4, like even the Rangers one, the Garrison of Ithilien is super cool too. It was hard not to choose.
It's so good now,
right? You keep Sam Frodo alive, you get victory point. Like there's just
you're rewarded for theme. It's so good.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I think that's probably one of the reasons I was really excited for good armies, is because like the first supplement that came out for the previous edition was Gondor in Flames, and it was like actually just about Rohan and the evil armies. The evil armies definitely got some cool lists in there too, but Gondor got the armies that I've been like excited for them to have, where you're like, why not this one? So without any further ado, my army that I wrote a list for was the Reclamation of Osgiliath. You can't reclaim Moria currently, but you can reclaim Osgiliath. So I went for an 800-point army. This started as like a 650-point army, and then I decided that the theme I was going for sort of required a few more points for me to really be able to tell my tale. So we have Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, who you have to have. He's got the Banner of Minas Tirith and a shield. His warband, he has 5 warriors of Minas Tirith with shield, 9 warriors of Minas Tirith with spear and shield. And then we've got Faramir, Captain of Gondor, with 8 Osgiliath veterans with shield and 4 rangers with spear. Then we've got Madril, Captain of Ithilien, with 4 rangers with spear and 3 Osgiliath veterans with shield. And then we've got a Captain of Minas Tirith with 4 warriors. I guess he doesn't have a shield. I feel like he didn't have an option for a shield.
No, they did. On the Tabletop Admiral, no options for captains.
Maybe they just come with one.
I think it's baked in, yeah.
And then you've got 4 warriors of Minas Tirith with spear and shield, and 2 with shield. All right, so this is my idea, is that you could do this in a different way that I think is slightly less cool. But this is Boromir and the captain. They have arrived in the streets of Osgiliath, and they're coming in to help reclaim. Faramir and Madril have obviously been fighting a withdrawing battle from the river. So they've got the veterans and the and obviously they're both rangery types. I've also realized I've put no upgrades on Faramir, which again, I feel like he maybe doesn't have any in Tabletop Admiral, because he should definitely have some upgrades here. Anyway, so this list would certainly be slightly changed. But that was the whole idea, was that Boromir and the captain was showing up with the new army coming to relieve Osgiliath. Faramir and Madril have been in the city for a while now. I like this a lot,
Sam. I like this a lot. In fact, I like it so much, I think we should play pretty much this next time we do doubles. I think the theme is on point. I think the doubles hits Gondor calls for ale. Like a hammer, like the hand of hammer hand into the face of a Dunlanding guy. I love this. Those Gilead veterans didn't get the glow up that I wanted in this edition, but they are certainly awesome. They're certainly cool, and I have been looking for an excuse to give some warriors of Minas Tirith Boromir's round shield to represent veterans. maybe give them some weird pickaxes like they've been chipping at stone to make fortifications. I don't know. Whatever you do, you're fighting in a city. You got to make fortifications.
I do think you could do this army in another pretty cool way as well, which is you just take the brothers and you do all like Osgiliath veterans or like whatever tin cans and stuff, but you go for the Boromir like dressed as he's going off to the Fellowship, kind of like Ranger Boromir, as it were.
Nice.
And you go for like the brothers when they're younger, like fighting whatever battles in wherever. So yeah,
Would you leave the banner behind in that army?
I mean, you probably take the banner just because it's good, but it would be tempting to because I think it's that original orc on Instagram has done a really cool one of him like blowing his horn with the sword.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, so you could, or you just give him the, I don't know, you do it in some way and be like, he's got the banner, man. Like obviously he's got the banner. We can just, here's one L tip on his base if you get real mad about it, but we're just claiming his horn's the banner this time. He's just blowing the horn of Gondor so loud and so often. He's got a banner.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, that was sort of my thoughts with this one.
Very cool. I love it. Fantastic. Good stuff. All right. I am going to take it away with my last army. I went for another small points one. I think you could definitely scale this legion up pretty well. And I have gone for the Riders of Eomer. I'm excited about this one because I played it in the last edition and I had fun with it. It was not a particularly strong legion. I think in this coming edition it is going to be a strong legion, so I may end up playing a little less. I think it may be bordering on the unfun line of things, but it's a legion that I'm excited for. I'm excited to see it get its improvements and its glow up. We have Eomer, Marshal of the Riddermark, leading the army. You have to take him. It is, of course, the Riders of Eomer. He is on Firefoot with armor, shield, and throwing spears. He's got one Rider of Rohan with a banner, 4 Riders of Rohan, and 2 Riders of Rohan with throwing spears in his warband. Next, we have Gandalf the White on Shadowfax. In his warband, there are 5 Riders of Rohan and 2 Riders of Rohan with throwing spears. So we've got 16 models total at 600 points. Not a lot of guys. But Eomer, movement 12, Gandalf, movement 12, 3 heroic combats on Eomer. Both of them fight 6. I think this is a pretty powerful legion, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. Just out of interest, why do you think this is going to be unfun?
Because there's a lot of cavalry, a lot of shooting. It's got magic and 3 heroic combats. I don't know. It just has the potential to be something that might not be I don't know. I could see this being a little Riders of Theoden-esque in that it has the potential just to run things over.
Yeah, that's fair. I would counter that with it's going to depend how you play it. If you run away from people and shoot them forever, like yes, but that's not fun. Sort of no matter. I don't think. Yeah. I also, unlike Riders of Theoden, obviously you weren't playing that at 600 points, but you don't have like 4 heroes with a million attacks. You at least only got 2 heroes. And your defense 5 on your riders versus defense 6, which does make a pretty big difference.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I maybe misrepresenting New Riders of Eomer. I might be too excited about it, but 3 attack Gandalf, fight 6 Eomer with 3 heroic combats just sounds like it's going to be pretty good to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I certainly agree. I think it's going to be good. I just, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm like, oh, I think this is going to be busted. I don't know. It's so hard to know. I think it's really like impossible to say right now. So, well, certainly for me, because I don't try and play. I pick a thing and I'm like, I want to play this thing. And I don't know. I'm not very good at saying whether something's like broken or not. I'm sure very soon we'll have people who are like just gonna be like, I'm gonna take on a busted thing. Which let's cross our fingers that it's not gonna be Dunland or New Helm, because I like being the only one playing cool things. But yeah, so it will be interesting to see how things shake out. This is, I do think, a pretty cool list, and like that's the thing, is there's stuff about so many of the new lists that I'm excited to play. I had to actively work to not put the 3 trolls in here Like
I was shocked, Sam. Shocked that you did not put the 3 trolls in there.
it's just not like it's a theme because it's the 3 trolls, but it's not something. There's no like, oh, what can I mentally do with this to make it an interesting theme?
That's
It's
fair.
like can be played from 400 to 1,000 points, so it's kind of like if I go out and say I'm going to build a 650 point army, it's just the only difference is what do I think the best 3 upgrades are.
Yeah, no, definitely fair.
So
Definitely
oh
fair.
my god,
I guess-
how funny is it going to be if my prediction for points, they won't be, but like if people do play 649 points and 748 points, and then the trolls are playing down by because you're like, I needed 1 more point.
Oh yeah, all of John Silverfox's weird tournaments with 556 points or
Yeah.
882. They're all gonna screw over the trolls.
It's fine. I will happily play points down with that. I mean, I won't because I'll just play another army I'm really excited about. But
Yeah,
I am really excited about the 3 trolls. And I'm so excited that you can, I'm like thinking Throne of Skulls 2025, baby. 3 models, 1 small display board. Let's go. A bunch of sheep.
Bunch of sheep. Nice. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be good stuff. There's a lot of things that I am excited for.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm super excited. I can't wait. I'm like desperately trying to make myself do 1,000 other hobby projects that I need to do before I get completely derailed. I'm also really mostly just waiting to see the movie because I think that's gonna be the next things that I'm planning to work on in Middle Earth is the stuff so that we can play some cool games with new toys over the holiday season and. Before I make any final decisions on what to include, I want to know what the deal is. So,
Yeah, I totally hear that.
all right, Ben. Is there anything else? We've gone through our stuff. We've talked a bunch. We've rambled. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we start wrapping up?
I don't think so, Sam. I think we can wrap it on up.
All right. Well, before we do, Ben, before we talk about what to expect next from Gondor Calls for Ale, I, much like Burglar Bilbo Baggins, have put pen to parchment and come up with a poem because as we have mentioned earlier in this episode, this will release the night before, well, the day before, because we released them very early in the day, the new edition. So, Ben, I jotted down my thoughts about this and will now give it to the world. You're welcome. All right, so I have entitled this poem. I came up with this completely by myself, no inspiration from anywhere. So I've titled this The Night Before the New Edition, then. 'Twas the night before the new edition, and all through the hobbit hole not a creature was stirring, not even SmegOl. The rulebooks were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that Jay Clare soon would be there. The gamers were tucked all snug in their beds, while visions of shiny new models danced in their heads. And Ben in his kerchief and Sam in his cap had just settled their brains after a long strategy battle games chat. When out on their lawn there arose such a clatter, they sprang from their beds to see what was the matter. Away to the window they flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the modelling snow gave a lustre of plastic to the new minis all set out below. When what to their wondering eyes should appear but the Battle of Edoras, its release drawing near, with a rulebook so crisp and terrain so fine, they knew in a moment it must be divine. More rapid than eagles the rules writers they came, and whistled and shouted and called out some names. Now Aragorn, now Legolas, now Gimli and Boromir, on Frodo, on Samwise, on Gandalf so dear. Return to your posts atop the walls, now defend the White City, men of Minas Tirith all. And then, in a twinkling, they heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each tiny plastic hoof. As they drew in their heads and turned back around, down the chimney Jay Clare came with a bound. He was clad all in green, like a ranger of old, and he bore a new starter set, a treasure to behold. He spoke not a word and went straight to his task, placing the new rules in Ben and Sam's eager grasp. Then laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. But they heard him exclaim, ere he disappeared out of sight, "Happy gaming to all! These new rules are a delight." There we go.
Well done, Sam. Well done. That was fucking fantastic.
Excellent, excellent. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was couldn't resist. All right,
Absolutely amazing.
with that,
Cheers.
yes, cheers. 'Twas the night before the new release, and we're oh so excited.
Oh, we are. Oh, so excited.
All right, Ben. So on to a little less exciting, little more mundane stuff, which is sort of like what's coming next from Gondor Calls for Ale. I think probably still by the time we have another episode coming out, I can't imagine either of us will have gone to an event. Hopefully, one or both of us will have played some games. I will certainly have done a bunch of hobbying, so maybe we'll lean into a bit of a more video-y episode, and we'll show a bunch of pictures of stuff we've been working on, and try and either bring you a box or describe it if you're listening. And hopefully, like I said, one or both of us will have played a game or two, and we'll be able to sort of give some thoughts and feelings on the rules in the new edition.
I will definitely have gotten a game, and I have a release day, or the day after release day event that I'm going to. It's supposed to be the 14th, but has been bumped to the 15th for reasons unknown.
I blame the weather outside, Ben.
Yeah, well, it is frightful, so.
Excellent. All right. Well, that sounds good. So we'll be able to give you Ben's first-hand perspective of some new games, and Sam will yell at him for not having fun in the way that I deem acceptable. And we'll hopefully get to look at some painted models, and then shortly after that, maybe we'll start getting back to some more battle reports. I imagine it actually might be quite a while. But we'll keep putting out random episodes like this, so hopefully you find them entertaining or enjoyable. Yeah. I guess before we go, if you haven't, please consider checking out our Patreon. Should have said this earlier. Now it's right at the end and everyone will have disappeared. We now have a Discord. That's cool. If you're a Patreon, you get special Discord access. You get to be a hero of valor, which will give you access to a Patreon-only chat in the Discord and a monthly hobby hang that we're going to start trying to do. Anyone else can join. You can find the invites in our link tree, and if I remember, I'll put it in the description of the episodes. But yeah, check it out, and that's a thing that's new and exciting, and I could have said that earlier.
It's new and it's exciting.
But yeah, until next time, we shall be back in 2 short weeks. Thank you for listening to Gondor Calls for Ale. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. We, at Gondor Calls for Ale, are officially sponsored by the Baron of Dice, the producer of premium wargaming dice. These beautifully hand-swirled resin dice have no micro bubbles and are therefore perfectly balanced. With over 3,000 variants and unique designs, nearly every tabletop gaming system is represented. So check out the description of this episode for a link and a discount code. Go buy yourself some new dice and let the good times roll. We at Gondor Calls for Ale are not associated with Games Workshop, New Line Cinema, or the Tolkien Estate. We hope we have not misrepresented or offended anyone. These recordings are strictly recollections of games we've played and are not commentaries on the character or competence of our opponents. They are intended purely for entertainment, and we hope they will be taken as such. You can find us on Patreon, see the link in the description. Supporting Gondor Calls for Ale there helps us continue to produce these episodes. You can find us on Instagram at Gondor_calls_for_ale. Feel free to send us a message there. or on Facebook as Gondor Calls for Ale, another great place to send us a message. Or you can send us an email at gondorcallsforale@gmail.com. As Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, once said, remember today, listener, today this episode was good.